What is the dumbest thing people actually thought is real? When we went to see The Martian in theaters, at the end some woman behind us told her friend, "I can't believe I missed this." When did this happen? I was told a great story by a friend who attended a town meeting addressing the locals' 5G mass concerns. In attendance was a representative from the network company. A selection of people were permitted to take the mic and rant for hours about how they'd all been getting headaches, feeling more low than usual, flowers had been wilting, their dog wasn't himself, all manner of things blamed on 5G. Several hours later, after everyone had their say and the crowd of hundreds had been whipped into a fever, the company representative had his turn to speak and simply said, "Thank you everyone for your comments, but we haven't turned it on yet." A lot of people fall for the scams around a company selling you a device you plug into an outlet in your home and it reduces your electricity bill. You'd honestly be surprised how many people have paid money for these and even swear by them even though it's 100 snake oil and incredibly dumb to think it would do anything. I need to buy these iTunes gift cards in order to pay off the IRS. The rain follows the plow. In the 1800s American West, this was everywhere. The idea was that agriculture would bring rain and make farming super easy. Supposedly, when grasslands were turned into cultivated fields, the soil would release moisture into the air. Then human activity like factories or trains would make vibrations that formed rain clouds. Eventually the idea expanded to straight-up bombing the air with dynamite on kites. History when us government tried make rain exploding dynamite sky 180,970,193. The BBC Spagel tree hoax of April 1, 1957. That fake ad for Apple phones getting the capability to charge via microwaving. Bunch of people put their iPhones in their microwaves and fried them. That sharing those posts on Facebook means they actually have a chance of winning a 5 luxury getaway. Ripping the tag off of the mattress. I accidentally ripped one while moving. The mover said I'd go to jail, so I hid in my room. I was about 5. Da Vinci was the first person to posit that it is blood that gives us erections, not air. That posting "I will not allow Facebook to sell my photos yada yada" on Facebook somehow makes their terms of service invalid. Those wristbands that give you energy, rolling ice face, Marilyn Manson getting ribs removed so he could give himself blowies. JFK Jr. being alive is one of the more idiotic things I've seen recently. The Fiji mermaid was a pretty successful scam. That MLMs are a small business and not a pyramid scheme where there's little to no chance of making not losing money. Beanie Babies as an investment strategy. That dumbass video people keep posting of a delivery woman dropping off a package, then reading a tear-off pad of paper that's coincidentally big enough for the security camera to read that asks her to open the package she just delivered and dress up in the Mickey Mouse costume to surprise their son who is going to be home any minute for his birthday when he gets off the bus. Delivery drivers are peeing in Gatorade bottles. Like hell they're going to take the time to do all that. Posts that start with "science says," "psychology says," etc. without the actual research study links. That if you ask an undercover cop if they're a cop, they're required to answer honestly. The constant rumor that drug dealers will give them to kids for free. Scientology. Blood being blue. I was actually told in elementary school that blood is blue when deoxygenized and turns red when it comes into contact with air. I even got grilled by my teacher for sarcastically asking, "So there are blue blood cells?" When I got older, looking back, I have no fucking idea how people actually believed that. I wasn't exceptionally smart in school and even I was like, WTF yo, that makes no goddamn sense. People that thought a 3-pound burger was smaller than a quarter-pounder. Babies feel no pain and they believed that until the 1970s, so they would experiment on babies up until then because they didn't feel a pain. Scary. I thought it was illegal to keep the lights on in the car until I was like 14. My parents are liars. Lamau. 5G phone masts were spreading COVID. People actually burned them down because of that belief. That the earth is flat. I used to be so confused about the amount of time it would take to make movies because I was convinced they did it all in chronological order, and when they did flashbacks to childhood, I was like, wow, those actors are so committed, smiley face, or I would think it must take a long time for their hair to grow or change in any way and never considered it could be a wig. Lol at it. Yes, I have heard of the movie Boyhood. It came out when I was 22, so well past my perception of movies being made that way. But it definitely reminded me of this when I first heard of it, and I thought it was really cool that someone actually did that. I used to work as a paralegal and had to fight with Social Security when they accused my clients of fraud. Got on a call with an agent who insisted my client was faking the disability her daughter had. The daughter died of the disability and it says it on the death certificate. The agent told me it wasn't enough proof. 2 from my generation come to mind. 1. Richard Gere was hospitalized for putting a hamster in his ass, and 2. Rod Stewart fainted on stage and when they pumped his stomach they found 5 gallons of semen. Oh yeah, and that Frank Zappa got into a gross-out contest with Alice Cooper. Cooper took a shit on stage, so to do one better, Zappa ate it. Cow tipping. Cows don't sleep standing up. That's not a thing. The amount of people I have met who have claimed to have knocked over a cow while standing up is crazy. I don't understand why people claim to do it. I have met tourists who claim to have done it back in their home country all the time. No farming background or nothing. They will confidently tell me I am wrong even though they have never worked around cattle. Mind blown. When the lockdown was in full effect in my country, many people believed that yelling habeas corpus made the police unable to arrest you, like it was a spell from Harry Potter. People lace kids' sweets with drugs on Halloween. No, they fucking don't. People don't spend time cooking their hard-earned drugs into sweets just to give them to some kid in an Optimus Prime costume. The Blair Witch Project. That everyone's opinion has to carry the same weight as the one of someone who is proficient on a field and has dedicated hundreds of hours to obtain it. When people thought Wakanda was a real country. That Mayan calendar bullshit about the world ending in 2012. SMH. My mom thought Alaska was an island just like Hawaii since it's always pictured next to it on maps. She spent 45 years of her life believing this before I corrected her. Woman face bombing, smiley face, smiley face. In my feed, this post is right above the post quoting Berlusconi saying Putin invaded Ukraine to put decent people in Kiev. So I'm gonna with that. Q. The Onion parody article about the abortion plex was briefly big on the forwards from grandma-style outrage Facebook circuit among people who, apparently, had never heard of the Onion. I've been in love with astronomy since I was 8, so I'm kinda the go-to-space guy, at least among my friends and relatives. I still get WhatsApp forwards sometimes saying things like cosmic rays will cross the Earth tonight and everyone should turn their phones off. Check BBC to confirm more. Tonight the moon will change colors 6 times between 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. The next time this will happen is 2501 said that all the planets are lined up tonight, which means if you jump up in the air you'd be able to float for 2 seconds due to gravitational alignment or something. Most people just ask me confirmation if these are true, but some actually tell me. You know, in case I didn't know. It's both amusing and infuriating that people fall for these fake forwards. Jackalopes. When my newly married brother moved to Oz, he stopped at a carryout for gas and saw one mounted on the wall. His new wife launched into the tale of how they were native to that state and very real. Guy behind the counter winked at my brother and put his head down to hide his smile. Brother had to break the news. She still bursts into tears at the mention of jackalopes. That there is a Jewish space laser, or that windmills cause cancer. That you can legally own 2 weed plants. England. That the female genital gets too loose because of intercourse with different partners. Saddest thing, people, especially men, still believe in this. People thinking 5G towers spread coronavirus. Well, I'd give this counts, but I didn't know that pickles and cucumbers were the same thing till I was 19 and I read the back of a pickle jar. I was shook and I felt stupid AF. JFK Jr. returning to Dallas for a Trump rally. Victorian people believed the jarring motion of high-speed trains that exceeded 35 miles per hour would unhinge the brain, causing madness. Apparently there was a theory that Tupac was alive and seen at a Trump rally in Mississippi. Tupac being alive is a common conspiracy, but in what world would he go to a Trump rally? Dumb people as me. But when I was a kid, I used to believe that every dad is Santa Claus because of the I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus song. That vaccines causes autism. Bad luck associated with the number 13. I could say any superstition is dumb, but this one is so ingrained that hotels won't even have a floor called the 13th. In the elevator, the numbers go from 12 to 14. Once when I took a class trip to Washington, D.C., we went to a museum and saw a reenactment of something featuring George Washington on a big screen. While we were watching it, I heard 2 girls from the front row. One of them asked the other, "Is this real footage?" And the other then replied, "No, if it was real it would be in black and white." That Michael Jackson, his nose fell off. That animals don't feel emotions. There are going to be people who reply to this comment that still insist animals don't have emotions. That one Shark Week where they made a movie about a megalodon. Half the people I talked to thought it was a documentary. I kept hearing people say something like, "I can't believe that lives in the ocean."